All those days are over now, our secret base and time we shared. We all were lost, but soon had found. Our friends and stories were there. The lonely kids all joined in hands, day after day, and made their plan. No matter what road lies ahead, we all will meet again. In June of 2014, the Kagero project saw the end of its story chronologically told through the anime Mekakucity Actors. I was a sophomore in high school at the time, and the Kagero project was my favorite thing in the world. I had been a fervent fan of the music and was following the manga enthusiastically. And so when the final episode of Mekakucity Actors aired, rushed, ugly, and ill-explained, I was terribly saddened. The story was over, and I should have felt a grand catharsis. But the way it all came to a close made it impossible for me to feel satisfied. It has been more than 4 years since that day, and while Summertime Reload, the last of the 8-novel-long telling of the project, isn't the end of the story for the lonely kids, it is the ending that I have longed for all of these years. The novels are, in a word, fantastic. They explore the cast with more depth and nuance than any other form of the project, and perhaps most importantly reflect the themes of the story beautifully through the developmental arc of each member of the Mekakucity. I'm not about to summarize the entirety of the novels, because that would take forever and I've already done it twice. What I will do, however, is explain why this is as perfect an end for the characters in terms of their development that we ever could have asked for, even if it isn't the perfect end for the story as a whole. Summertime Reload features the perspective of 9 different characters, which on paper sounds like a complete disaster. The novels have always featured multiple perspectives, but for most of them this was limited to 2 or 3 at most. That said, Summertime Reload is able to manage this many primary characters effortlessly and to stunning effect. Through allotting different members of the Dawn the seat of protagonist throughout the novel run, the reader has ample time to develop a connection for each of them, just as each of them go through a developmental arc of their own. The final novel ties up the arc of every member of the Dawn, giving particular attention to its most underappreciated member, Seto. The Kagero project is a story about coping with loss and believing in the good of the future. It's a story about togetherness and how valuable the bonds we form and the people we meet through our lives are. Every member of the Mekakucity struggles with these themes due to the loss they've experienced and the tragedy forced upon them. But through this final novel, we get the chance to see every member learn to believe in the future and the people close to them, even if it doesn't mean everyone can find happiness. Shintaro and Kido were the first to face the Clearing Eyes when it claims Konoha's body, defending the others but losing their own lives in the process. Momo and Seto are able to swallow the pain of losing their siblings and struggle to protect those who remain. When Azumi presents a solution to the problem, costly as it may be, Momo and Kano fearlessly sacrifice themselves to give Azumi the strength to open the Kagero days. Takane looks at the grieving Hibiya and sees in him Shintaro, sees herself, the weakness that they both once had, and is able to push him forward, she too sacrificing herself so that there might be any survivors to see a day past the end of summer. Even Azumi, much like the imagery of days, gets a moment to look upon the strength of the Mekakucity and see how her grandchild and her friends are able to stand against the tragedy that crushed her and take the opportunity to stand against it now herself. So many members of the Dawn lose their life at the final battle, but their lives are not wasted. They face death willingly and unflinchingly if it means saving even one person's future. Shintaro, Kido, Momo, Kano, Takane, they all find in themselves the same hope for the future and love for others that Ayano had the day she jumped off the roof. And in the end, Seto, Mary, and Hibiya are left with the hardest challenge of all: to live. This is where Seto really becomes an emotional powerhouse. While Hibiya and Mary are able to walk past the deaths of their friends and even work hard to find a way to connect with them once more, Seto gets swallowed by his grief and his responsibility. He struggles to ensure Mary can live a happy life, even if it means destroying himself and everything he loved and believed in. In the end, he finds himself in exactly the same position he once was as a child, running away in agony and fear from the thoughts of others, until Mary holds him, lets him cry, and tells him that they will find a future together. It's not only a beautiful conclusion to Mary's arc, but a much-needed opportunity to develop Seto into the character he always deserved to be. In the end, one might look at Summertime Reload and feel unsatisfied. After all, it ends with almost all of the Mekakushidon stuck in the days forever, and with everyone choosing of their own volition to rewind time, even though they succeeded in beating the Clearing Eyes. But what's important therein is that every member has found their answer. Every member has found the strength in their heart to face tomorrow and work to make the next timeline better. They all faced tragedy head-on, unflinching, and at the end of it all, chose to keep pursuing a brighter future. It's the growth and resolve of the Mekakushidon at the end of this timeline that will eventually allow them to find Summertime Record. So even if this isn't the end, finishing it feels complete. Even if the group is separated and splintered, and even if they don't know what the future holds, no matter what road lies ahead, they all will meet again. If you like the Kagura Project even a smidgen, you owe it to yourself to buy and read these 8 novels. To quote Jin in the afterword of the novel, all of the awkward heroes of this story are also the friends of the awkward you reading this book. So I hope you'll hang out with them somewhere else again. I'm sure they'd love to see you. Thank you, Jin, for a story I'll never forget.